Welcome, colleagues. This is our first IPMA Special Interest Group webinar for the year. I just quickly want to share my screen with you. My name is Ben Peters, and I am the head of the IPMA Smarter City Special Interest Group for IPMA. And it's a pleasure to be being with you all. And I would really like to just quickly give you a quick glance of IPMA and the special interest groups and our project success webinars. To start off, thank you for joining. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A button. We will keep the webinar to 60 minutes max. We've got a presentation of about 25 to 30 minutes, after which we will then proceed and with question and answers. But in the meantime, you are welcome to raise all your questions, and I will try to get to all of them as we progress. Further to that, what is our special interest groups? The IPMA special interest groups are exploration areas that we try to benefit our careers, our work, and the planet, with a great focus on project program portfolio management, and the various products of IPMA related to competencies, related to organizational competencies, individual competencies, as well as to that of project excellence. SIG members strive to advance the industry, create new standards, networks with industry leaders and peers, and find opportunity for growth and more. We've got multiple SIGs. We've got the AI, healthcare, innovation, change, mega project, smarter cities, which is this one, smarter rural, smarter you, energy, diversity, equity, inclusion, PMO, environmental, social, and government. And for more information, please will you join and visit our website at sig.ipma.world to find more information. Please take note, today's webinar, we will provide badges, and if you can please make sure that we get feedback from our satisfaction survey, and if you can please just offer up about 2 to 5 minutes for the survey, it will be of great benefit for us, and after which we will then provide you also with the badges for attendance. It's then a great pleasure to introduce you all to our guest speaker, Dr. Mercedes de Miguel Capdevila. And she is situated in Europe. And she's going to talk to us today about the physical impacts of digital world, the rebirth of harbor areas into smarter districts. A little bit more about Mercedes. She is leading complex physical transformations resulting into resilient urban and natural environments for government assignments from P2 firms. Previously, she has headed the Urban Design and Development Department in several European cities in the period 2008 to 2012 from the municipality of Rotterdam. She has been responsible for the city transformations such as Stadshavens and the high-speed train station area. In 2014, she has been leading the ambitious Dutch Smarter Cities national program, where solutions to city challenges are found through innovative collaboration between public, private, and academic partners in the Netherlands. Mercedes graduated from the Architecture and Urban Design program at the University of Barcelona. Throughout her career, she continues building bridges between academic and practice, urban planning and design approaches, working simultaneously in both environments. She has been responsible for several project collaborations between municipalities, government departments, and various universities, which include Technical University of Delft, Escaloa Técnica Superior from Barcelona, and Eindhoven University of Technology. She has recently successfully completed her doctorate research linking smart and physical port cities, port city interface areas from obsolete isolated to smart environments. The city and harbors of Antwerpen, Bilbao, Copenhagen, and Rotterdam have been cooperating within this research. Her research unveils physical consequences of smart city technology implementation, changing how we live. Welcome, Mercedes. We are very happy to have you, and looking forward to the engagement today. You're welcome to share your screen, and then the floor is all yours. Thank you very much.
Okay. Wait a minute. I need to do this right. So There we go. Yes, you can see something now?
Yep, 100%. You're welcome to continue. Thank you very much. We can see it.
Great, Ben. Thanks so much for your introduction. And welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody from Utrecht in the Netherlands. Most of you have chosen to join virtually from a lot of places around the world. Cape Town, of course, Ben and Robert, but also Zurich, New York, Zagreb, perhaps Valencia, Finland, Porto, Singapore. The thing is that somehow you are here in my office with me today. You joined virtually, but I am feeling you physically here. And since we are talking from my office in Utrecht in the Netherlands, let me take you to what is happening just around the corner. It's already 4 days that it's freezing in the Netherlands. And for the ones who are used to it, Dutch people is really crazy about skating. And at that time, just today, people choose very precise to put their smartphones aside, to cancel their meetings, and to go to the places where the water is freezing, to put on their skates and to feel what's happening when you're skating on the nature ice. I cannot do that, but I have a lot of friends who do that. The point is that they make at this moment the decision to take part in a physical reality. So this is about combining physical and virtual reality. So with smart applications, we are changing how we do things. We are changing the way we live. And this has consequences for the appearance of urban and harbor environments. More specifically, for the obsolete and isolated areas close to city core. This is the topic of my webinar today. At the end of this webinar, I trust to help you change your perspective on human patterns and land use as a consequence of digitalization. But before we go there, I will like to share with you some findings of my recent research, covering 3 items, covering the item of urgency, looking at the areas from maritime and city perspective, and revealing you the 3 key urban elements that I have been able to identify. Then we can discuss the topics that you are interested in. But in the meantime, you feel free to write your comments so that Ben can arrange everything for later for our discussion. Okay, I will not tell you that much about me because Ben has said a lot about me. I think the most important thing is to give you my interest in building bridges between research world, academia, and the practice. So I am working simultaneously in both areas. Somehow I am fulfilling a personal mission to shape future-proof areas where people can thrive. And along the way, when I was leading this Smart Cities program from the Netherlands, I realized that the expectations of citizens for new urban areas are really changing. And being aware of that, I feel somehow responsible to collaborate in how do we have to change our physical frame in order to make things, to make this world a better place for everybody. So, how did I do that? I have learned from 4 cities where already experiment how to deal with new expectations and demands for these port city areas. The cities are Rotterdam, where I've been working for some years now. There is the location of the Merwe for those who would know this area. In Copenhagen, there's a well-known area, Noordhaven. In Bilbao, you have the area of Abando Ibarra, where the Guggenheim Museum is situated. And we have the area of Eilandje, which is situated in the interface area between the harbor and the city of Antwerp. In all these cities, They are not really investigated how things are doing. They just experiment with what is happening, and it's very interesting to see what is going on. So what I did was interviewing key actors from the city, but also from the harbor in all of these cities, in all of these areas. I take a lot of time visiting the areas, mapping things I saw, but also paying attention on what is being realized, what is built. Because to me, it has to be built. It has to become reality. Learning from that, I triangulate all this information to ultimately reach the conclusion of my research. So. Learning from the selected cities, I have identified 3 key urban elements to shape smart city environments. First, water sites. Second, selected heritage elements, because they link former and future port areas. And third, strategically situated multimodal mobility nodes. Each of these physical dimensions is mediated and shaped by digitalization. I will tell you more further in this presentation. However, to me, the most salient conclusion of my research is that we need changing perspectives. New paradigms are arising because smart city applications are changing how we live. New trends are becoming evident. The importance of city centers are fading. Also, it's very interesting to see how many shopping centers have empty shops. Personal urban fields are composed by activities that are located in different urban areas. So we need to change perspective, how we move, how we use land, and what the human patterns have to do with that. That was an important item, an important topic that I developed in my research. So I rather discuss with you this point, which I trust that it could be useful for your work, for your experiences. Therefore, in this presentation, I am not covering how to lead these transformation processes. Also, a lot of work developing a new concept from smart environment linked to urban planning and design. I am not giving you a lot of information about how we come to new land use and urban patterns, because I use a kind of a personas approach. If you are interested in it, I'm going to tell you later, but I'm not going to go there in depth. Also, the pillars to build a new urban planning and design theory are interesting, and how to continue with my research. So let me bring you to the conclusions following the urgency, the perspective of both cities and the 3 key urban elements. I guess you are seeing this picture at the right side. Is that right, Ben? Do you see something in the screen? Can I take that off somehow?
We don't see anything where your pointer, mouse pointer is, but we can see your slides.
Okay, you can see my slides. Then it's okay. So let's go there. What you here see, those are typical obsolete transition areas between the harbor and the city. Those areas are really very close to the city, but somehow citizens have forgotten them because they are separated by railroads, by walls, by all kinds of infrastructures that make them somehow invisible for the city. But we are talking about large areas very close to the core of the city, which is really desperate to get new areas to expand for their citizens. In my research, I have found, wait a minute, something is happening. That these areas have a very important asset. And this asset is linked to the infrastructure for ICT. You see, port authorities are investing in cutting-edge ICT infrastructure because it's needed for the port businesses. This ICT infrastructure is not only for the port business relevant, but it also gives the area the possibility to become a smart environment. Somehow, this possibility is overlooked, since I haven't found any account of it, and also I haven't found any policy trying to make more out of it. But I think it's very interesting to realize that these areas, although they are not easy to develop, they have a very important essence to develop as a smart city environment. Okay, during my research process, I have unveiled gaps from the perspective of the maritime sector and from the perspective of the city. The most interesting is that both are under the transformation because of digitalization, being the technological aspect that is erupting in everything that we are doing. But interesting is that from maritime perspective, these obsolete areas need to be developed for harbor necessities, which are led by the necessity to make the transport of goods more efficient, even more efficient. If we look at the same areas from the perspective of the city, we see that these areas are thought as the areas where the new expansion of the city can take place. And there is no, or at least very little, interest in including harbor activities there. So what I have done is to link the perspective of both, trying to see what needs to happen in these areas so that they meet the demands from both. We know that there is already a very strong economic relation between maritime activities and city services. We know that, but we don't know is what are the physical elements that need to be placed there to make this relation better for both, for the expectations of both. Let's look at it from the perspective of the maritime sector. Through history, each new technological innovation has aimed to make the transport of global goods more efficient. That's easy to follow. We see a lot of new recent built container terminals, but also the transformation of harbor areas to be able to get all these big size growing vessels reveals a very physical relation between new technology and what's going on in the harbor. So that's one important thing that's happening. Digitalization is the technological innovation of this era. And what we see is that maritime sector, port businesses are developing with it as well. And one of the things that it's interesting for the areas close to the core cities is that the port business are building new activities, new functions in these areas that were set aside some years ago. And why is that? The digitalization brings the necessity for port businesses to relate with city services in another way. So they need much more interaction between them. But even more, to make these changes possible, a new kind of employees, more technical employees, are needed in the harbor. This group of people that works rather closer to the city environment than isolated among containers. So that's a very important aspect for the maritime sector, to look at these obsolete areas with new eyes. Another interesting thing happening is the development of twin ports. Twin ports are reproductions of the harbor, digital reproductions of the harbor. And these reproductions make it possible to manage security and other kind of harbor activities from a distance. I don't know if you wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if you are acquainted with an EI project from the port of Antwerp, Antwerp-Brugge. They have just launched last year a very interesting program which is based with information picked up with drones and all kinds of sensors in the harbor, which is constantly giving information on issues, mostly issues of security, and this linked to the twin port activities, which are localized in the new port authority building just close to the city. So that's what I'm talking about, the activities from a maritime perspective, interested in building buildings, but also all kinds of functions in these areas. However, citizens love water. Citizens are urgent, are really demanding the opening of riversides and sea for public access, because water has this kind of magnet attraction. So when maritime activities are going to be placed in these areas, also the expectations from the city has to be taken into account. And when the expectations of the citizens have to be taken into account, it's good to ask to yourself, what are the expectations of the citizens besides the opening to the water sites? Well, if you think closely, what are our lives are changing, style of life are changing, because implementations of smart city of all kinds, then you realize that they expect something different, that some urban transformations now are given to them. At this point, urban planning should give an answer to this question. Somehow I couldn't find the answer in the emerging fields of smart city. Perhaps this has to do with the fact that smart cities is just at the beginning. We're just at the beginning of this era right now, and that gives the importance of focusing on the physical consequences of renewed expectations of port businesses and for citizens for these transition areas. To cope with that, I have developed a concept, is the concept of port city environment, smart port city environment. And the goal of this concept is to create a physical frame in which smart decision makers, which is the government, smart people, which is all the businesses and people making use of smart city application on a particular site, in this case, the port city interface, are facilitated to thrive somehow, because that's what's going. That's what is interesting to do. Looking at how Rotterdam and Copenhagen and Bilbao and Antwerp are dealing with it, I identified 3 key urban elements. So they are not aware that they are building with 3 key urban elements, but when you analyze what they are doing and you see the characteristics of some things that are similar in all 4 cases, you can come to the conclusion that these 3 key urban elements do really set the frame to meet the new demands of port businesses and citizens. And those are what I'm telling you here. Riverbanks and seashores, but a kind of backbone of the site. Then we do have selected heritage elements, selected, not all of them, mostly are industrial buildings, but they can also be landscape elements related to the specific geographical area of the harbor. And those elements link the past with the future. And the third one are the strategically situated multimodal mobility nodes. So let me take you to each of them. The young people you see at the left side are looking at the passing vessels in Rotterdam. The drawing you see below is the river along the harbor of Rotterdam. The light green area should be the water, and you see some points thought for people to be able to follow what's passing through along the river, with smart city applications giving information on the cargo of the vessels. So it means it's kind of will to link all the harbor activity with the urban area there. It's a very good example on how to link both. The second example that you see beside is a new park realized in Antwerp, looking at the city of Antwerp. That's also to be found in Copenhagen. That's the right picture, where of course a lot of attention is given the last years to the public space. And it's also the case with North Harbor, which has linked very good the information on how busy they are, these areas, and information on the weather and information how to get there with the realization of this public space. But also Bilbao, that's the drawing that you see on the just beside the drawing of Rotterdam, where the whole river, of course, the whole river in Bilbao was really a problem, an environmental problem. So they made a very brave decision, and it was to change all the riverside in a new park. Included a new mobility tram. I'm going to cover it when I'm going to the mobility later. But it's about how to reinforce water with the backbone of the public space. The second element, it's the selected heritage elements that you find. And it's not only industrial buildings. It is industrial buildings for some areas. For instance, you have this transformation of silos in Copenhagen into new apartments or new offices. And that's also the case in Antwerp. And you have the reuse of industrial buildings in Rotterdam for new recreation activities. But it's also about infrastructure. And the infrastructure you see on your right is La Carola. And La Carola is a crane in Bilbao, which represents the history of the harbor and of the mine people and of some decades of really a lot of development in the city. And to make all this history pass on, smart city applications, virtual reality programs, and also all kind of digital aids are used in the 4 cases to, at one hand, engage with the citizens, get information from what they know that was going on in these areas. At the other side is used to use it somehow to merge new functions from the harbor and functions from the city. So this is a very interesting element as a merge element between the past and the future. The third element, which has to do with the personal urban fields and new urban patterns, is the location of multimodal mobility nodes. I'm just going to be very concise because it's really a lot of stuff. But I discovered that there are different types of citizens, of personas, and each type is moving in a circle area in which the functions should be strategically located. And when you use this information to think where the multimodal mobility nodes should be placed, then you are using the area in the most optimal way. Even more, you can take more out of all the activities and nature and geographical possibilities that you have, knowing that the concentration of population is going to be around all these areas. So it's important that we think good how to make the most out of it. Okay, in a highlight, you see in this diagram the conclusion that digitalization is really the technological element of this area, which is related with anything. Is related with the way we live, is related with the way port businesses are evolving, and in the physical environment where both the city and the port come together, it has to be thought not only from the perspective of the port businesses or from the city, but from both of them. And having seen that they are economically outdoing this, and that in the 4 cities studied, they are implementing all kinds of smart applications to merge both, we really need to think how to shape these areas in a way that they align with it. So I should say that digitalization is really leading to other expectations from the citizens and the port businesses. And that's something that seems very easy to say, but it really challenges paradigms that are still working on physical transformation in these areas. So it seems to me that the change of perspective when changing these areas is necessary. Then when you get to this point, it could be useful to implement the three key urban elements that I have identified, looking at the 4 examples. Well, very summarize all of it. I should say, let's talk about it. And I am really curious to know if your practice and your experience somehow recognize the topics that I have brought here up, Ben. I leave it to you.
Thank you very much, Masay. Much appreciated. I really appreciate your excellent work, and we learned quite a bit. And I'm going to take you quickly through the questions and answers that we received. And for everybody that is part of the call, you're still welcome to post in the Q&A some questions as it relates. The first question that we've got here is from Enrico J. Arcurella. And it says, hello, Dr. Massey. Just curious if you have or is planning to create a digital twin for these port cities, leveraging technologies to simulate in your research. If you can maybe just, if we can start with that one, and then I've got a question as well.
Okay. Enrico, was it?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Thanks for the question. You see, there are already engines to create twin cities in projects that I am leading and I am working on. I always try to use them, to use a twin city tool in order to give a better idea about what are of VR, to get a better idea about what are the physical consequences of all what is going on. So this tool is already there. You have the tool of the twin harbor, which is reproducing what's going on the harbor. And I think that we already have the tools to use in these interface areas, merging both of them and letting see what's happening there when you are changing physical aspects of it.
Thank you very much. From my side, just a quick follow-up question. In your research, you made reference to the community and how the community play a vital, important part into the creation of these transforming these harbor areas. And I'm very interested to understand from you not just the community engagement, but also the collaboration. And how important is the collaboration from your community stakeholders to successfully transform these harbor areas into more smart districts?
Well, I think that it's already there, but it's still growing. And you see, the more concentration of people in urbanized areas, you know that's a trend, and we know that this is happening. The more pressure for the use of the areas where is more people concentrated. And we already have seen what are the consequences of opening information of digitalization also among citizens, exchanging what's going on. I will give you one of the interesting insights from a smart city leader in London, who told me, imagine what could happen if all the information on the projects which are being prepared in the City of London were made public. Then you would see that the citizens would start questioning why is this development there going on while the other one is not still starting, or how this one is really meeting this, I don't know, whatever goal from the city that you have. So opening up the information that you have on physical projects is really having a very important influence already, and I expect it to have more. In the cities that I have studied, they work with consultations of somehow involving the citizens. Of course, when you are talking about new citizens that are coming there to live, it's more difficult to do. However, it's also happening, and I expect it to happen more and more. Because also the information between people, because of all kind of social media, is not going to be less.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Enrico have a follow-up, and it says, in the transformation of the port cities in your research, do you see any challenges or risks with regards to local regulation and with the sustainability in UN SDGs?
Yes, this is also a very good question, Enrico, because thanks to digitalization, I will tell you an example of Rotterdam. The harbor of Rotterdam has been expanding in the Tweede Maasvlakte, so the second expansion, very important expansion to the sea. And there are two cities around there, Hoek van Holland and on the other side, which were really worried about the environmental impact of these heavy functions placed there. So what the harbor did, it was really very clever. He distributed a lot of sensors of air and water quality among the citizens of these cities, so they can follow daily what is the environmental situation in their garden, in their wherever they are. And you see that this kind of that's what we're talking about. These kind of exchanges of information with smart city applications, they try to make two different functions going together. They cannot go together anytime, of course not, because there are heavy activities that need to be placed further from the place where people is living. And of course, this is also happening there and also along the corridors with the rivers. But in the particular areas where the city and the harbor meet, it's very important to somehow first know what is happening, and knowing what is happening, you don't yet have the regulations to permit to have there some kind of functions too close to, let's say, residence functions or other kind of office functions. So there needs to be also some kind of development in order to cope with what is going on. So it's a very nice challenge, and you see it in the 4 cities also, working with experiments how this is working. But I am convinced that with the need of connection with water from the city, and the need of place to expansion, and the really need to change business models for port businesses, what you see, that something very important is happening already there. And these aspects are hurdles that has to be taken.
Thank you, Marseille. Herman Ramsey Castillo Iglesias is sending his regards from Panama, and he's asking what is the possibility that the same approach can be introduced into the Latin America?
Well, talking about an academical, I have to be cautious because I have centered my studies in European cases, so I cannot say that you can put it one-on-one somewhere else. Talking about my practice experience, I can tell you that there is a lot of music there that can be sung in some other places, as long as they are an interface areas between the city and the harbor. Of course, you need to see what are the specific elements of your location, and you need really to do it very good. And it's not only the geographical characteristics; it's also the people who are in charge there, who really need also to make the changes. But I can tell you that there is a lot of elements of my research that it could be useful to you.
One more question from my side. What do you think is the potential economic benefits of developing smarter districts within the harbour areas? And how do you think they will impact the overall urban ecosystem?
This is a very good question, Ben, because it has to do with what do you think that it's the importance of planning your activities, and what do you think that that you can arrange from the public sector to do that? I think that it's very important. But that's of course that's a political question to be answered. What I think is that with the growing amount of people concentrating in these areas, you really are wise to think twice how to make the most out of the space that you have. And if you want to do that, it's really interesting to see how these big areas, which really you have a lot of flip sides, like environmental pollution and very big infrastructures that fit no function that you need from the city and are very expensive to take away or to transform. If you realize that what you can do with this area is to use the motor of the transport of the maritime transport, mind you, 90% of the world goods are transported by maritime transport. So we are talking about a motor which is understandably very important for the city, but also for the region and for the nation.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I've got one final question, and then I'm going to ask my attendees today for the final views. If there's any questions, you're welcome to post them in the Q&A. My final question is just if you can maybe expand a little bit on how we can balance the preservation of the cultural heritage, which you touched on, and the development of modern, smarter districts within the harbour areas. If you can maybe just expand a little bit, what do you think are the potential economic benefits from that? What is the things that the policymakers and the planners needs to take care of in the preservation of your cultural heritage, and then balancing that with your development of the modern, smart district in harbour areas?
Well, when you're asking that, Ben, I assume that you have a kind of image of a smart city, which is shiny buildings and I don't know, flip-flop things going around. I guess that you have that idea when you are asking that. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be like that. What I have discovered in these 4 cases is that apparently they are not consciously building on smart environments. They are not doing that. But Copenhagen is situating the metro in the most strategical area in Noordhaven. And with your application, if you live there, you will choose if you go with the metro to this restaurant, you want to go there, or with a bike if it's good weather, or with the car. What I'm saying is that there is yet no physical appearance of smart city. It's not such a thing. If you look at smart cities from scratch, made in Arabia and also in Korea, you see that they have used urban physical concepts from Europe. So that's why I thought it's necessary to get on working on what is this. And when you do that, is my second key element, the selected heritage elements. It's a very good way to link the past with the future, to link the culture that you have, but also the way in which you realize or design the public space. It doesn't have to be the same in Cape Town as it is in Copenhagen, but in concept it's the same, but it is not the same when you are there. And paying attention to that, I think it's very important to be true to the DNA of the location. Geographical aspects are also very important.
Perfect. And then the final question for today from Alfredo Armeos. He says, thank you very much for the great presentation. Remembering the law of iron in mega projects, what do you think about the lack of competencies in project managers who are involved in the transformation of cities across the globe? Do you believe that just technical skills are enough?
That's a very good question, and I shouldn't think so poorly of these of these professionals. What I have found in my research, and that's maybe an answer to this question, is that the world we are living is getting complex and more complex, and sticking to the physical appearance of smart environments This also is also breaking silos. You have the architects, you have the landscape architects, you have the planological, the sociological, mobility engineers. You have to break through all of them. And that's one of the important things of what I was not explaining today, and that is how to lead these transformation processes, is to shape the form of the process in a way that you mix this information, that you merge information of all sides. And some people should say, but this is very, very difficult to do. Well, I think we have to do this. We don't have any choice of not to do that. And I've seen a lot of colleagues who already are doing this. And I am confident that it's developing even more.
Mercedes, thank you very much. Much appreciated. I just want to share my screen once more and then we're going to conclude. It's really been a very informative session, great presentation. Thank you for answering all the questions. I know that's sometimes difficult because you don't know what's going to come aside and you can prepare a presentation, but the questions is somehow a little bit different, more difficult to answer. From my side, thank you very much for your willingness. And then for my attendees, please remember your feedback on the satisfaction survey that will be sent to you. We will then also issue badges for each one for the attendance. And then if you don't mind to just log in and join IPMA today, go to our website, sig.ipma.world. There you can find out a bit more about all the various SIGs. And if you're interested in the Smarter City SIG, please feel free to pop me an email. My contact details is available on our website. It's ben.peters@ipma.world. If you want to be involved in the Smarter Cities special interest group, where we discuss monthly various matters, we're trying to work together on various multiple aspects as it relates to smarter cities, and with a great focus on project program portfolio management. We believe it's not just about the technology aspect, but it's all about livability, workability, and sustainability, of which Mercedes today touched base on quite extensively. So thank you very much for your attendance, and Mercedes, thank you very much for your time offering up, and it was just a great pleasure listening to you today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting me, Ben.